order. I'd like to welcome everybody and thank you for coming out. We're glad to see you this evening. At this time, we will have a moment of silence, and that way we can all meditate in our own faith. Amen. Thank you. Okay, our first order of business is the approval of the agenda. And at this point, I will go down to item 8, Commissioner concerns, petitions, announcements, and comments. Does any commissioner have anything to add in that?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I have a couple of items. Number one, cost of living allowance for county employees. And number two, a COVID vaccination incentive program for county staff.
Okay. We did have some discussion on the COVID vaccination incentive at our last meeting, but you were not here, so we'll add this today.
Thank you.
From your standpoint, and, anyone else, anything else to add under commissioner concerns, petitions, announcements, and comments?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the agenda with the noted additions.
We have a motion from Commissioner Gatewood, seconded from Commissioner Sturman to approve the agenda with the additions. Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, like sign. Motion carries. The agenda is approved unanimously. Okay, just one other thing. In accordance with the State Government Ethics Act, General Statute 138A, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearances of conflict. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matter coming before the board? If so, please identify the conflict and refrain from any undue participation in the particular matter involved. Does any commissioner have any conflict of interest with anything on the agenda tonight? Good. Okay, hearing none, we will move on. Our first item of business is the public hearing on the Anson County gaming ordinance, and the copy of it is in our packet. At this time, we need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mims, seconded by Commissioner Gatewood to open the public hearing on the county gaming ordinance. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, like sign. Okay, motion carried. It is unanimous. We are now in the public hearing. As we all know, we discussed a gaming ordinance for the county, and we've reviewed it and made changes, and this is what we're here for tonight. It has been published, so I don't know if there's anybody from the public that would like to make any comments. No one signed up, but we will hear from you at this time or answer any questions that you may have. Does the commissioner have any questions? Hearing none, we ask that I need a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Sturman, seconded by Commissioner Gately, Commissioner Sims to close the public hearing. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, like sign. It is unanimous. The public hearing is closed. We now need an ordinance to adopt need a motion to adopt the Anson County gaming ordinance.
I make a motion.
We have a motion from Commissioner Brickens, seconded by Commissioner Sturman, Commissioner Sims, to approve the Anson County gaming ordinance. Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, like sign. Motion carried. It is unanimous. It is passed. Item 3, the consent agenda. 3A are the minutes on page 7. three B is property tax refunds and adjustments on page 22. Budget amendments on the redistricting study to Central Iowa. Budget amendment on the senior center general purpose funds. Budget amendment to register deeds, that's 3C, D, and E, and 3F is the budget amendment on 911 center. And those are all in our packet.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as
Right.
presented.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Gatewood, seconded by Commissioner Mims to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries, it is unanimous, the consent agenda is approved. Okay, public addresses to the board. We have some people signed up. First one is Mr. Bobby Johnson. While he's coming, I will say this, just remind the commissioners that during the public addresses to the board, that we listen, we don't comment, take any action, but we'll assign that to the county manager or the appropriate person. And Mr. Johnson, you have 3 minutes.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'll keep time, 3 minutes. I'll say 2, that means you've had 2 minutes, so you have 1 left, and then when I'll say stop, it's 3. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Forge. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Bobby Johnson. Live near 742 North. Chairman, commissioners, staff, county manager, and Attorney Forge, who I refer to as the Anson County Attorney General. So, I want to talk with you just for a couple of minutes about a severe problem that we have on the north and northwest side of a landfill that is located near Polkton. This landfill is in Dr. Sims' district, and it has been a problem since last December. We have dozens, if not hundreds, of people that are affected by the odors coming from that landfill. Sometimes the odors are so strong that people actually vomit when they come out their front door. I can bring those people here if you like. On the 4th day of June 1991, an agreement between Chambers Development Incorporated and the County of Anson by its commissioners entered into an agreement to establish and build a sanitary land waste field in the Anson County. This agreement contains the legal and binding relationship between Chambers and Anson County. The general consensus of this agreement is as follows. Section 1, Chambers will be the only landfill in Anson County. Section 3, will not accept hazardous waste. Although there's 631 tons of cadmium, which is a hazardous waste that measured above the state limit for hazardous waste. The 631 tons of gypsum and cadmium mixed together that is buried in that landfill has been there for 2 years. Still there. The general Section 3 Chambers will not accept hazardous waste. Section 8D, all complaints received by the county will be referred directly to Chambers and shall be answered in writing within 7 days, and except of such response shall be referred to the county. Trash and waste will be compacted and covered not less than daily. That is not being done. County inspection. The county has the right to inspect operations and records. If Chambers is notified of DSWM or EPA or any violation of laws, permits, conditions, Chambers will verify the county and promptly take actions to cure the problems. This has not been done. Citizens advisory boards appointed by the county, 4 citizens and 1 officer of Chambers. Who are they? Where are they? Does this even exist?
Mr. Johnson, it's 3.
2?
That's 3.
3.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is, Mr. Charles McGinnis.
Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. And the subject I want to present is on the Vision 2040 Anson County Zoning Steering Committee. When reviewing the committee individuals assigned to the steering committee, it became apparent that the Anson County community is underrepresented. It is too heavily biased towards the corporate sector, and aside from Bernice Burnett, too little representation for our community. Anson County is blessed with many citizens that are retired, farming, living in small and large communities, and providing various levels of valuable services. These people should be part of the steering committee also. It's their communities, their families, that zoning results will affect the most. So I'm here to recommend to you that some of the individuals on the committee be replaced with more suitable candidates, not just because they are unable to effectively represent the Anson County community, but because it's clear there will be a direct conflict of interest when performing steering committee responsibilities. Starting with Tyler Fitzgerald, District Manager of Waste Connections. Tyler works for a company that brings waste from all over the two Carolinas and dumps it here in our county. For years, a large portion of Anson County citizens have voiced both alarm and opposition to what this company is doing. Increased intake and site expansion is clearly his company's agenda. That alone makes it impossible for him to effectively address community concerns and represent the community at large. Leroy Lookabill. Lee's job is to assist in sale and purchase of real estate property. Zoning directly impacts property values and property uses. Being on the steering committee affords him too much opportunity to make zoning decisions in favor of his business as opposed to the community at large. Todd Moore, PD Electric. Power companies lease and purchase large amounts of land for power lines and substations. Zoning can directly influence business decisions for line expansion and routing. Todd's job may force him to make decisions that benefit PD Electric instead of Anson County citizens. He should not be forced to make those decisions. Because of their background and job responsibilities, none of these individuals should be allowed to play any role in the Anson County zoning process. It's no secret this county is in trouble. In the last 3 years, business flight has caused devastating job losses. Our citizens are leaving at an alarming rate to find employment elsewhere. Seniors are finding better places to retire. Our kids are leaving for better jobs. You must do more to foster community involvement. You must embrace meaningful change and abandon obsolete and irrelevant practices. There's been a lot of effort and tax dollars already spent on zoning process. If you want zoning to succeed, create real improvement in Anson County, include our citizens' selected process, and replace the steering committee with people that really do represent our communities.
That was just 2 minutes, you got a few more seconds.
That was just two, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I wasn't trying to interrupt you, I just wanted to see you.
All right.
Well, thank you, Mr. McGinnis, and apologize for the misunderstanding. You did have another minute. If you care to take that last minute, you feel free to do so. If not, then we'll move on.
No, I finished.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. Mr. Brian Johnson.
Hello, everyone. I come in peace. This should be a relief to some of you. I'm here, this is kind of a history lesson that I think everyone needs, because it's real easy to forget because we're boiling the frog. And what's going on is directly applicable to the countywide zoning on a macro scale and not micro. The difference between socialism and capitalism is capitalism is based on individualism, initiative, and favors market mechanisms over government intervention, while socialism is based on government planning and limitations on private control of resources. That's what zoning does. The Communist Manifesto, if you're not familiar with it, it was written in 1848 by Karl Marx, and it's been slowly on a march. and it's got a strong movement going in the United States right now. As far as the 6 main planks, you have central banking, which we have, government-controlled education, which we have, government-controlled labor. Well, we're close. There's a lot of rules and regulations that are excessive. Government ownership of transportation and communication vehicles, not talking about cars, talking about how it works. And again, government regulation holds all that. If it wasn't for government regulation, we wouldn't have all the supply chain problems we have right now. Personally, my business, I'm having extreme issues with supply chain. Government ownership of agricultural means and factories. I've talked to most of you individually about bringing in the agricultural industry beyond farming, and I've been advised by the #1 consultant in the meat industry in North Carolina to not invest in Anson County because of the pending zoning. So we went to another county, and I've been encouraged to move to another county by members sitting up here. That's jobs. We're already employing people, and none of them are Ansonians. And total abolition of private property. Taking control of what I can do on my property is a good start on that. I'm sure everyone's familiar with Saul Alinsky, who took the works of Marx and wrote the playbook how to implement them. It's called Rules for Radicals. I would hope everyone has read that and is familiar. And just a note that the book was dedicated to Satan. That's what you're dealing with, and that's what zoning promotes.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Okay, that brings our public addresses to the board to an end. Okay, we're now down to item 5. 5A is Sheriff Reed. Mr. Vehicles, and that's found on page 32 of the packet.
Good evening, Commissioners,
Evening.
Mr. Chairman. First of all, I want to thank you for just listening to me and making a decision on the vehicles. I also want to thank you for your support since 2014 when I first became sheriff. This board has supported me, and I thank you for that. You have a copy of what we have on the vehicles. There was 3 Durangos that totaled out at roughly 95,000. Dodge Chargers rather. 1 Dodge Durango for 30,000. 1 Chevrolet 1500 S pickup truck for 41,000. And then you see the radio, the equipment, and the tags. The breakdown. The reason some of the prices are more than they used to be, say pickup trucks, the F-150. 2 years ago, we bought one for $33,909. This year, the F-150 Ford pickup truck is at $43,695. So instead of that one, we looked at the Chevrolet Silverado, which is $41,240. They gave us, usually they give us 30% off on these. They mark them down 30%. This year, the Silverado they marked down 15%, and the Ford F-150 they only marked down 12%. So that's what the price of them. The reasons we need these vehicles, some of them are high mile, the Chargers. The Durango and the pickup truck is for the detectives. I basically wanted 2 pickup trucks, but because of the price, we asked for 1 pickup truck. The pickup trucks are used to, we have 3 trailers that the detectives use for the investigation. There's 1 trailer that has lights on it, generators, all kind of stuff in it that they use when they go on, like we was on the death scene a couple weeks ago. That trailer was pulled out. We have 1 pickup truck that's gonna go off the road. It's very high miles, and that's what this pickup truck will replace. On this pickup truck, we went with a V8. If we would have went with a V6, it would have been roughly $2,000 more, but you're pulling a trailer. It's 4-wheel drive. We could have went with a 2-wheel drive, but the things that they do with these trucks, it makes a difference. I'll be happy to entertain, answer any questions that you have. Yes, sir. Mr.
Sheriff, read one question, that is, how do we plan to fund these vehicles?
They were, I think you made the decision last year to fund them out of the general fund.
Out of the fund balance?
Fund
Excellent.
balance, yes, sir. And,
You have answered my question,
yes,
thank you.
sir. And also, I do wanna say this, the total price that you see on this sheet, we're gonna be probably $10,000 to $15,000 less whenever we put everything on them, because we don't have to do as much, and we don't think, unless the prices went up on some of the equipment, we should be about 10,000 to 15,000 less than the 222,000.
So we are here tonight to vote on.
Yes, whenever when we're through asking questions, the sheriff, we got all the information we need, then we'll need to vote to approve this request. The other thing that I will put out there, Mr. Gatewood also made a recommendation, and I guess that's what's gonna happen this time. I'm not sure. They need the county manager to investigate. We have voted to approve purchasing vehicles for the sheriff's department, and we paid for them over time. Commissioner Gatewood's suggestion was, and he had the finance department to do a comparison of paying for them over time or go ahead and paying cash for them. I think that was like seven, maybe almost $8,000 savings in doing that. And I don't know if that's still your recommendation, or back then I think we were told that the finance department had some kind of schedule they were working to, and we suggested that whatever the appropriate time was that they investigate paying cash or continuing to pay. So,
Mr. Chairman, my recommendation remains the same. We pay cash for these vehicles, be done with it, and take the money out of fund balance.
I like it.
You make that as a motion?
That is a motion.
Second. I second it.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Gatewood, seconded by Dr. Sims and Commissioner Sturdivant, to approve the sheriff's request, pay cash, and take advantage of the savings. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. It is unanimous to the sheriff's request for vehicles.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff
sir.
Reed. Okay, item 5B, Mr. Edwards from Town of Waysboro, the Uptown Waysboro property.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to come up here and speak with you all. If you all remember, not all of you were on the board at the time, but a while back I came to you asking for the county to deed the 2 parcels that the county owns on the Uptown Square over to the town. We have big plans for the Uptown Square. We received a grant several years ago to do some improvements there. We've been working through some difficulties. There is a 3rd parcel on that on the square, and we are hopefully closer every day to acquiring that parcel. But we would really like to control and own all 3 parcels so that the town can do some improvements there. We're going to rebuild the stage. There are plans to have a mural on the Uptown Square, and as also we are going to be hosting a music festival in the spring that sort of kicks off that mural project. I'm sure all of you are aware of that. So at the time that I came and spoke to you before, the board was amenable to deeding those parcels to the town. so that we could continue to try and improve events in Waysboro and make it a place where people want to come and live and enjoy the uptown area. We've had so many new businesses that have opened up since the last time I came to y'all. So I don't know if you all were here on Saturday. There were thousands of people uptown walking around getting candy for all the businesses that we coordinated with. And I think there's just a lot of momentum in uptown Waysboro right now. So I am coming on behalf of the town to ask for a formal vote, I guess, for the board to deed those 2 parcels over to the town. And myself and Mr. Forbes will get with one of the property attorneys here in town and get that paperwork taken care of if it is approved.
Do we have any questions from any of the commissioners? As Mr. Edwards stated, and we've had this discussion for the last several years, and there's several different plans. At one point in time, it was going to be joint between the county and the town of Waysboro, and it was determined that that may not work as we would want it to, and then it was looked at in a different manner. And the last discussion was that because the town of Waysboro had a definite plan for the property and beautification of the town of Waysboro, that Anson County, we would deed our property to them, and they would have control of the whole section. And that's what he's asking for us tonight. So if that's the pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion that we deed the 2 property parcels to the town of Waysboro.
I second it.
Thank you. We have a motion from Commissioner Gaywood, seconded by Commissioner Sturtevant, to deed the parcels, the Anson County parcels to the town of Waysboro. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. It is unanimous. We will deed the property.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate your time.
Would you like to buy the building?
No, sir. Not today. Not today.
Sorry, you're good.
That's right, we're trading.
I didn't think you were great.
All right.
That's all right.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. We appreciate what the town of Waysboro is going to do with that property. Okay, next item, 5C is on page 35. Representatives from Brown Creek Soil and Water Conservation were here on our last meeting, and they asked for funding to be replaced for the position that had been given up. And we actually basically agreed to do that. And on page 36, you can see the amount of funding that's in place to do that. Total amount is actually $32,908, and that will put that 2nd person back in place at Brown Creek Soil and Water. The activity, when it happens, when the one position was cut, the activity was at a level where they felt like the one person could handle it, and that has been the case up until here recently. The activity level is picked up, and they feel like they need that 2nd person back in place now.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we find the 2nd position per the recommendation of the Brown Creek Soil and Water Conservation.
And we have a motion from Commissioner Gatewood, seconded by Commissioner Sturtevant, that we fund the 2nd position at Brown Creek Soil and Water. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried, it is unanimous.
Thank you all, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ladies too.
Okay, item 5D, Ms. Angela Caraway, Food Distribution Fund, and that is on page 37. Ms. Caraway.
I'm gonna sit this here, hopefully you guys can see this. Produce is in the box. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to be here this evening. Again, my name is Angela Caraway. I'm the Executive Director of the Caraway Foundation. And since August of 2020, we have been providing food boxes at that time through the USDA. And at that time, we were giving out about 1,300 produce boxes every week. That ended up, that program basically with USDA ended in May of 2021. At that point, we had given out 1,153,152 pounds of produce here in Anson County and surrounding counties. That equaled out to be about 44,200 boxes of produce that we did. I actually applied for another grant and was able to receive that grant to continue that process of giving out produce boxes until the end of December of this year. However, that does not, that grant did not fund 1,300 boxes, it only funded 100. And we decided to give out 100 boxes every other week until a week prior to December of Christmas of this year. So we are giving out boxes until Christmas of this year. As we know that part of, through the Anson County Community Health Assessment that was done, it showed that, that we're ranked very high on being unhealthy. And that obesity actually ranked number 2 as being the number 2 health problem besides hypertension and diabetes. One of the things that was listed is that it was that there is no access to fresh food, healthy food, and that was the number 1 obstacle to those who took that survey. Even though we have, I think there's 1 farmer's market, we only have 2 grocery stores that provide produce, fresh produce, or produce from other places throughout the country. We've partnered with the Sandhill Agri-Innovation Program, and that's where we're getting our current boxes from. I'm here tonight to ask if we can continue that process to help with minimizing hypertension, minimizing diabetes, minimizing obesity through receiving fresh produce throughout the county until the end of next year. I think you guys should have received information that I put together that show the numbers and what the figures are to do that. Instead of it, what I proposed was not to do it every week, but to do the same thing I'm currently doing now, which is every 2 weeks. That amount actually ends up being 3,900 boxes every other week. And actually, I'm sorry, 3,900 boxes total. And there is a delivery fee because they will actually put the boxes together. That's a sample of the box that we have here. That box does not include, the pricing that I put here does not include a meat because the meat prices change. But if there's a chance to actually add a meat to that, just like now, we're looking at possibly adding chicken just to the boxes for Thanksgiving. And chicken is $7 per chicken, so that would be an additional $700 on top of the $1,500 that we're paying now for those 100 boxes. So right now, the pricing that you see here, I'm asking, is for $20 a box. It's for 26 weeks. And with the delivery fee and the admin fee, the total ends up being about $84,110. But that would allow us to actually support 150 people every other week. I know that there are some municipalities like McFarland. It stated that based off of the census that the population is 115. Morven has about 548 people, Ansonville 730, and so forth. We will actually, the plan is to make sure that each municipality can receive boxes every 2 weeks for 1 month, and then we would then start that rotation back up again. So based off of our plan is that each municipality will receive at least 600 boxes throughout the year. So that's my ask, is for us to continue to support the county by way of providing fresh produce to the citizens of Anson County that needs it. Any questions?
Okay, anyone have any questions of Ms. Caraway?
And does this terminology and name for this program, is it named after perhaps Molly Caraway that used to be a teacher in the Anson County schools?
It's not named after anyone, but Molly Caraway actually was my cousin.
Okay.
The Caraway Foundation, if that's what you're referring to, is my family's name, and I'm a lover of my family's name, so I
have high regard for it.
Yes, thanks. I'm glad you did.
Okay, the administration fee, who does that go to?
The administration fee actually is the fee to the Caraway Foundation for us to manage the program. So we have to make sure that what we do is have people to sign up for the boxes. It's what we've been doing since August of 2020. So we manage that process. We determine what's in the boxes along with the agri-innovation, because they have a select number of items that you can select. So there is a small administration fee. If you divide it out, you would see that the administration fee is actually about $200.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Curious as to where it was going, so. Admin fees sometimes find their way to different other places.
Yeah, no, not here, trust me. I don't do that, no.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Caraway, first of all, let me applaud you for an excellent presentation,
Thank you.
well documented, and I really appreciate the work that you've done here in recent years and the work that you did up in the Triad area in providing computers to needy families. It touched my heart when I read about you in the Triad Business Journal regarding your efforts there. I think this is an excellent idea. However, I do have some concerns.
Okay.
Over the last 20 years, we've received numerous presentations from Ms. Lisa Holt from Feed My Lambs, Ms. Smith from the Burnsville Recreation and Learning Center, from Anson Crisis Ministry, and the position of this board has been we do not fund nonprofits. And I don't know of any that we have funded in the last 10 to 15 years.
Okay, Mr. Gatewood, I'm glad you put that out there, because that's what was running through my mind. I remember some of those meetings where we had those requests. And,
Yes.
My thinking was, I don't know, I think we need to have some further discussion about this rather than say yea or nay tonight, is my thinking. But you're right, we would have to change not so much a written policy that this board has, but it's just the way we've operated. Because we felt like with all of the nonprofits in the county, and churches included, that we would get overrun with requests, and we wouldn't be able to honor. It would come down to a matter of choosing who we'd have and who we wouldn't have, and we'd not want to be in that position. So, Ms. Carroll, if it's fine with you, we need to do a little further study on this.
Yeah.
And
I would also suggest, just as I was reading about the American Rescue Plan, I know that there are some things within the American Rescue Plan that allows for you all to actually contract with a nonprofit to help with things around food security. So I would say, think outside of the box. Not think about what was done 20 years ago, but think about what the needs are right now, and that you have funding that is available, that you can contract with a nonprofit that's doing things around food security. So that's what this is about. It's about food security, and it's not about trying to utilize money, the administrative fee, towards something else. It really is about us getting those produce boxes out to people that need them. So don't think about 20 years ago. Think about right now, and think about the fact that there is funding out there and that we're eligible for that, as long as you think about that there are people out here really needing this support and needing this food. So I hope that you think about it, and think about it in the manner of that you're able to help feed those within your district. So, thank you.
understand, Ms. Caraway, and like we said, it's not that we're not considering it. It's just that we want to make sure that what we said and what we do match up, and we want to make sure that we don't get in trouble.
Absolutely, I don't want you to get in trouble, but if it's not something that is set in stone, I want you to really really think about it. And yes, we are a nonprofit, but think about the needs of the community and what you can do now versus what was done before. Any other questions?
Excuse me, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask if there was any more questions.
This is my 23rd consecutive year on the board, and I recollect the same things that Mr. Gatewood, Mr. Woodman said. And I also wonder, and maybe you can tell me, I am told by grocers that most of the people get food stamps. What's happening with the food stamps?
I don't have an answer to that, but I do see that the social services are here, and they can certainly maybe answer that. I can't answer anything related to EBT the SNAP program or any of those things, but what I can answer questions directly towards this.
I understand.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Anyone else?
What is the name of the company that you were gonna be getting the, product from?
Yes, it's called South Agriculture. It's actually Agri Innovations, Sand Hills Agri Innovations, and Davon Goodwin is the executive director. And our current grant is actually with Resourceful Communities, which is supported by Blue Cross Blue Shield. And they are actually the ones that recommended me to contact Sand Hills Agri Innovations. They are located in Hamlet area, but they drive over here every other Friday to deliver those 100 boxes to us.
Okay. And did I understand you to say that you're covered until the end of December?
Yes, sir. We're covered right before, we actually have it planned that we would give out the food December 22nd.
Okay.
So, right now is to the end of December. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Carroll.
You're welcome.
Okay. Item 6.
Mr. Chairman, just one additional point on this subject, and that is the difference. The thing that has changed in the last 20 years is the fact that now we have some COVID money available.
Well, yeah. I had that in the back of my mind.
Yes, and if we devise a program where nonprofits can present their grant proposals to the county, we review and assess them, that would be one option. But again, using taxpayer dollars to fund nonprofits, I think that would be out of order.
I agree. And that was kind of my thinking, is we look at the ins and outs of the American Rescue Plan funds and see where it fits in. If it's possible to do something with that, it makes all the sense in the world.
All right, thank you.
That's what we'll have the county manager and staff investigate. Thank you, Commissioner Gatewood.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 6, Mr. Allen, the manager's report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a few items. The first one is, as you know, as we discussed before, after every decennial census, those jurisdictions such as counties or cities that elect their members by district have to redistrict. And so the board engaged Central Iowa Council of Governments to do a study for us to look at that. And they came up with 3 options for redistricting. What they found was that the current districts are out of balance. In fact, out of 7 districts, only 1 is within the plus or minus 5% tolerance that the courts allow. And so we definitely have to redistrict. And so in your agenda package were the 3 options that were presented by Central Iowa: District A, District B, and District C, and those are in there. We did provide an opportunity for those board members who could to come by and look at the large-scale maps, which I have right here, and see if you have any questions. Central Iowa staff were here to answer those. But those are in your package tonight. The next step is that the board will need to select an option, and then we would need to move to public hearing with that option. Unfortunately, we're under a very tight time frame. Census results weren't available till August or September. We have to have a revised district plan to go to the Board of Elections and to the Secretary of State by November the 17th, along with every other county that elects by district. So tonight, the situation is the board would need to pick one of those options and move to public hearing with that option.
Okay, hopefully all commissioners have looked at these different scenarios. Like I said, it's A, B, and C. And we'll have to decide which one that we want to pursue. This is open for discussion, or if everybody's decided, I'll just put my 2 cents worth in right now up front. I think basically scenario B is probably the most disruptive, in my opinion. A and C is some changes, but it's more in line with guess what it is, it looks to me like, under, Plan C, Commissioner Mims would lose McFarland.
C?
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, C is the most similar.
And, other than that, Plan C is pretty close to what we have now.
Yeah.
I had it backwards, I'm sorry, excuse me for that. So at this point.
Hey, you got your new glasses by then.
And, so now we have to decide which of these three scenarios, which it sounds like Plan C is the most acceptable to everybody. That's what
I like C, but I don't like Mr. Mims losing McFarland, but.
No, that's
No,
not.
no.
Oh, C is my favorite.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we accept C, presented at the public hearing.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Gatewood, seconded by Commissioner Sturtman, that we approve scenario C, and that's what we will present at the public hearing on the 9th. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay, it is unanimous, the motion carries, and Plan C is what we will, scenario C is what we will present at the public hearing on November the 9th.
I believe Mr. Gatewood and Mrs. Sturman mentioned the fact that item, C is a less disruptive than all the ones, and I like that.
That is correct, Dr. Sims.
Correct, that's correct. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item we have is a cost estimate for sewer service in the Whispering Pine areas, east of Waysboro. You recall that the board asked that we get an estimate for these areas to serve them to see what it would cost, and you authorized us to engage LKC Engineering. Because there wasn't any surveying required or anything like that, LKC was able to do this at no cost to the county, so it did not cost the county anything to get this estimate. You'll see that it's broken into two categories. One is the McCray Avenue side, and the other is the Whispering Pines Road side. And the cost of those are about $1.5 million and $1.7 million respectively. That is a substantial amount of money. Probably higher than we were anticipating, but if you ride through those neighborhoods, you'll see that there are a lot of homes, and they are, fairly large neighborhoods. And they probably do, because of their density, probably do make some sense that they have a municipal type sewer system. As far as I know, the county hasn't received any requests for sewer service there. Before the county would want to embark on a project of this magnitude, you would probably want to definitely determine what kind of an interest it is in. Also, in looking at this, Mr. Piper told me that this could very well be a grant eligible area. So rather than using county funds or ARP funds, that if this is something that the board wants to look at for the future, that this could be a potential CDBG application or other application to the state. The state is right now it looks like the next 2 or 3 years going to have a substantial amount of grant money available for cities and counties, so he thought it might make a good grant project. Some of that will depend on the income. You'd have to go in and do an income survey, see what the incomes are, but that's an option for the board as well. But nonetheless, this is the information that the board has requested.
Okay. And I think where the board is right now, we've committed to the part on Highway 74 with ARP funds to get down from where it ends currently on 74 by Wade Mill down to right there at McCray Road. We've committed to that with ARP funds. So then, does it make sense for this second phase to follow the county manager's recommendation and look for grants and other areas of opportunities to fund that?
Hopefully get that.
Because right now, just say if we just out and just put it out there, if we say we're gonna do it with ARP funds, that would use most of the ARP funds that we got. Okay, so at this point, Mr. Manager, if you would proceed with that, look at the Whispering Pines Road portion, the $1.7 million, look for, see what we might be able to go after there. And then we'll go from there with that.
Yes, sir. The next item, and Ms. Cannon placed a copy of this at your desk, is the October budget report from the Finance Department. I'll just mention a couple things. I think the Finance Department is continuing to make really good progress in catching up on the items that they were behind on. So every month, I think you're gonna be seeing a more accurate report as entries are made, as reconciliations are made. All the information is here. I think it's a good report. It's very detailed. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to try to tackle those or get the answer from Mr. Cannon, but, that's for your study.
And anything jumped out at me, but I guess the one thing that this was back on the consent agenda, the 911 thing, you know, as I understood it, you know, there's really no reconciliation been done for the last several years, and that's something, I know Mr. Cannon's working on this, but that's something that needs to continue. That is something that needs to be corrected and addressed and corrected, and that's with all departments. That wasn't just the only one. But on that one, 911 says, just for the information of the board, it's $236,338 that the county received from the state that's not eligible, but because we weren't keeping up, we hadn't given it back to them. Now we got to give it back.
My goodness.
So,
The good point, if I could interject, is that the county still will have use of those funds, but it's for only 911 purposes.
Right.
You can't use it for general fund purposes, so,
Right.
Just for clarification.
yeah, thank you. I understand. My concern is that we got that much money laid out, we got to give it back. I mean, that's,
Excuse me, Mr. Manager. Then on those funds, they're recorded that the sheriff needed for 911, can we use it for those funds?
Yes, sir, that is a good example of an eligible expense that we can use those 911 funds for, yes, sir.
Commissioner, that's what I was thinking too.
Mhm.
Me, buying another vehicle, well, I'm gonna tell you something. And I, travel a lot, and I think I spoke with Mr. Gatewood and Commissioner Gatewood about it. When people get ready to move to a county, Commissioner Bricky, and I talked to you about it the other day, the things they look at is our education and security.
Yep.
They look at that. Anybody would, especially if you have children.
Yep.
And that's where our funds need to be going. Yeah, when we have that extra money and stuff like that there, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Stiles?
Mr. Chairman, the last item I have is just we want to recognize the final employees of the quarter for this year. And those are Anthony Ratliff with EMS, Katie Cranford with Child Support, and Ronald Gamey with the Anson County Sheriff's Office. So we want to recognize those folks. Friday of this week, we'll be having a little informal breakfast with all of the winners of the Employee of the Quarter, just to thank them and recognize them for their outstanding work and being recognized by their peers. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Okay, that brings down to Chairman's report. I guess the first thing I mentioned last time, we need to decide what we want to give employees for Christmas gift. I think the last time it was just a $25 gift certificate, gift card, or whatever it was.
I wanna give them $100.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, we have.
I would certainly support the $100 recommendation of Commissioner Sturtevant, very definitely.
I think we have, what is it, $15,000 budgeted because we use, 10, we have $10,000 budgeted, because we typically do a dinner and the gift cards, but since COVID, we haven't done that, we didn't do it last time, I think there's any plans to do it this year. But if you do $100 per person, that's gonna run up to a little over $30,000, I believe, because we got 300 and like 15 to 20 people altogether.
Right, about 321, 25.
321,
Yeah.
so that's
That's
what
full
we're
at
at.
point time, Chairman.
If we do $100, that's gonna be the cost. I just put it out there. If we're good with that, just give me a motion and a second, we'll go.
I I make a motion that we give them $100.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sturman, seconded by Commissioner Gatewood, that,
Commissioner Mills seconded too.
Commissioner, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Mm-hmm.
To give $100 gift certificates to all employees, all full-time and all regular part-time employees. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. It is unanimous, the motion carries. Okay, county manager applicants, we talked about it a couple of times now. We hadn't gotten very many. We have gotten a couple since our last meeting. And I'm gonna ask the clerk to give them to us tonight at the end of our meeting. And when we come back on the night that we have a closed session, because basically where we are now is, I think Mr. Allen is past the time that he was planning on being here. I'm not sure what he's open to doing past this point. But we need to get something in place so he knows what he's up against. And the other thing is look at I think we got about 7 applicants. There might be somebody in there that we can work with. If it looks good, we'll go with it. If it don't, then we'll keep looking. So she'll give those to you, and just review them, look them over real close, and we'll talk about them on the night.
Mr. Chairman, I know we've been embarking on this search now for 6 months. It's been a while. Are we sure that all 7 of those applicants are still available?
We'll have to find out. That's why I want to go ahead and at least look at it and see if there's anybody in there that we're interested in. And, if there's not, then it doesn't matter whether they're available or not if we're not interested in them.
Another approach is that the clerk could contact those individuals just to make sure they're still available.
Okay, I'm open to that.
All right.
That's fine. Stan, will you do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the last thing I've got is, I've been invited to attend an Economic and Workforce Development Summit for chief local elected officials, and that's sponsored by the North Carolina Department of Commerce, along with the North Carolina Works Commission. That's happening this Friday, and I've been asked to come because of Central Line, so that's probably where I'll be Friday in Raleigh. Okay.
Is it gonna snow Friday? Oh, you will be all right, don't forget it. That's okay.
Don't bother him, he likes
No,
snow.
forget it. For real.
Okay, that's all I've got. Now we're down to item 8. 8A is Commissioner Gatewood, cost of living adjustment for county employees.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I do have a handout for the board. Did I have enough copies? All right. Thanks. I think I made enough.
Oh, you highlighted them like you don't know how to highlight.
No, I just want to point out some things for the sake of time. But first, as a background, I'd like to remind the board that effective December 30th, all Social Security recipients will receive a 5.9% cost of living increase, 5.9%. And we'd have to go back 20 years to 1982 to exceed that level. And that was July of 1982. The cost of living increase was 7.4%, as you'll note in the information provided. I got real excited when I learned of that 5.9%. And I was calculating in my mind what it's going to mean on my monthly checks.
Then it's gonna take out from Medicare.
And then I thought about county employees. We've granted them a 2.5% cost of living increase. And if you put gas in your car recently, you'll know that we're paying over $1 more than last year this time. And if you're buying meat from Food Line or wherever, prices are significantly higher. I bought some bacon the other day, some good bacon. And I told my wife, damn, excuse the expression, I can't eat 2 pieces of this. We're going to cut it back to 1.5. So we're all eating 1.5 pieces of bacon to compensate for the increases in cost. I say all that to say this. I really believe that as a board, we have an opportunity to acknowledge the increase in inflation and to grant our employees an additional 3.4% cost of living adjustment effective January 1st, 2022. That will put them on even keel with Social Security recipients, and it will also acknowledge by this board that we appreciate your efforts, and we also appreciate that you're dealing with inflation like we are. So that would be my recommendation, and that is the motion I make.
Now, what is that going to do to county tax rate?
It
Anything?
won't do a thing to the county
What I
tax
thought.
rate, because Dr. Sims, as you know, we have over $11 million in unrestricted fund
A
balance.
couple of schools to build.
That we would just dip into
And
it just
and
ever so
social
slightly.
services building.
Well, I know, but this is also important.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's
I
immediate.
just wanted to make sure we wasn't raising taxes.
Yes, sir. So that's my motion, that effective January 1st, 2022, we will grant county employees a 3.4% COLA adjustment.
Yeah, we got it.
I have a question. On the 3.4 and the new program we're gonna do for the raises, how much is that gonna change? Is that gonna affect it? That Mr. Monroe was working on about the employees for the raises for the time that they've been here?
The STEP program that he was working on based on years of service,
Yes, sir.
totally different.
I don't know that it's gonna be ready at this point. I'd say it's probably, it'll help actually because people pay.
Okay, that's all right. I'm all right. I don't know.
But
I don't know when that's gonna
it's
be
two
ready.
different
Yeah, I understand
situations.
that. I know what you're saying.
Inflation versus a long-term salary
Right.
adjustment program. So again, that's my motion.
Here we got a motion from Commissioner Gatewood. Is there a second?
Is there any other question? Do you know what you're saying, about being two different things, right?
All right. I was just asking that question when I asked him in the beginning.
In the federal government, you have step raises, and then every year you still have a cost of living increase. It's not having anything to do with your time in service grade increase, so it would be two separate things.
That's what Commissioner Gates was talking about. This has no connection to the.
So my motion is effective January 1, 2022, we adjust county employees' salaries by 3.4% to adjust for cost of living.
And it's just take them to the 5.9.
That would take them to 5.9, just like Social Security recipients receive.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you, Ms.
second.
Sturdivant.
Okay, we've got a second by Commissioner Sturdivant for a 3.4 COLA effective the 1st of January. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay, motion carried. It is
Thank you
unanimous.
very much. And that's the only item I'll present tonight. Thank you.
Okay.
But let's not forget about the other project that we're working on with the
Right.
step raises,
Yeah,
cause that's, yeah.
Ms. Ingram is working on that, and we're having discussions about that. As I understand it, the intent of the board is that comes to y'all after the first of the year for you to begin to review and discuss, and that will go into effect with the new fiscal year, July 1, 2022.
That's the plan, yes, sir.
And that'll have an evaluation process, so you have a performance appraisal that you have to meet a certain criteria before you can get your time and grade.
I mean, that would be one of the options. I mean, we haven't fleshed out everything, Mr. Brickton, but that's a typical kind of thing that you have to meet minimum standards in order, to receive a step increase, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Gables. Okay, we're now down to item 9, the closed session to consult with the attorney. That's under General Statute 143.3.
You have a second?
He wasn't gonna talk about it.
No,
Okay.
just the one item. South by your head.
Okay, we need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sims and Commissioner Mims, seconded by Commissioner Gatewood. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye.